What happened this week at the Paris Air Show was not merely a trade fair dispute, it was a diplomatic thunderclap wrapped in black plywood. And Israel's leading arms manufacturers, including Rafael, Elbit, IAI, and U-Vision, found their stands barricaded overnight, walled off by French authorities for allegedly displaying offensive weapons. The result, a simmering row between Paris and Tel Aviv, laden with legal threats, accusations of hypocrisy, and murmurs of anti-Semitism, all set against the backdrop of war in Gaza and a crumbling moral consensus on the conduct of modern warfare. Held every 2 years at Le Bourget, the Paris Air Show is one of the most prestigious stages for civil and military aerospace technology. Contracts worth billions are signed beneath the wings of fighter jets and the gleam of missile nose cones. But in 2025, that spectacle has been upstaged by 5 Israeli booths, literally sealed behind black walls, an act described by Israel's defense ministry as an ugly, improper, and discriminatory display. Certainly a display. Overnight, after Israeli staff had gone home, the French authorities, citing a ban on offensive weaponry, walled off the exhibits. The imagery was powerful and deliberate, and some Israelis compared it to a symbolic ghettoization. Others saw it as a crude commercial power play. The Prime Minister, François Bayrou, defended the move with austere clarity. No offensive weapons, he said. Defensive systems were permitted, but given the severity of Israel's campaign in Gaza, with over 55,000 Palestinian deaths reported by Gazan authorities, France wanted to signal its disapproval by excluding weapons used in such a context. Bayrou insisted that this was not a total ban on Israeli participation, but it's hard to ignore that similar missile systems were proudly displayed by France's own Dassault Aviation. A Rafale fighter stood gleaming in the middle of a tableau of strike munitions, apparently exempt from the definition of offensive. One might ask, why was the difference moral, political, or simply French? The Israeli companies and officials reacted with fury. Rafale, whose precision-guided weapons are used extensively in the Gaza and Iranian theatres, likened the barricading of their stand to a contractual ambush. "We will sue," declared Shlomo Toaf of Rafale. "We were given no warning. Our equipment had cleared customs. Our plans approved. This is sabotage in the night." President Isaac Herzog took to French television to say this is creating an Israeli ghetto. Defense Ministry Director Amir Baram accused France of dressing up protectionism in the garb of morality, calling the move blatantly anti-Semitic. And whether or not one accepts that charge, the symbolism is stark and the stakes are escalating. And the deeper issue, of course, is not simply about pavilions and guided bombs. It's about what the global arms industry tolerates and what it pretends to condemn. Dassault, Lockheed Martin, BAE, Airbus all display instruments of death without shame. Why are Israeli firms uniquely censored? Is it because their weapons are currently in use? Or because they're winning too many export contracts? This is not moral clarity, this is theatre, and rather poor theatre at that. Worse still, it feeds a narrative in Israel that Europe is not merely critical, but hypocritical and hostile. Yes, there is a war. Yes, it is ghastly. Yes, Israel's actions in Gaza deserve scrutiny and condemnation, not least over proportionality and targeting, but banning weapons from a commercial fair while continuing the diplomatic ties and intelligence sharing is moral selectivity masquerading as virtue. And it neither saves lives nor stops bombs, it merely shuffles the narrative. France, anxious to assert its relevance in the Middle East, has chosen a symbolic and stupid gesture. But symbolism without consistency can be politically lethal. What the French government has achieved, in effect, is to galvanize Israeli defense and invite lawsuits, all while appearing morally aloof but commercially self-interested. To this end, the air show showcases more than just aircraft. It exposes rifts in Western consensus over Israel, over arms sales, over morality, over war, and it reveals the defense expos are no longer just about engineering, but about ethics, global politics, and reputational combat, or at least a nod to those issues. The black walls erected around Israeli booths may come down by next week, but the shadows they cast will linger much longer over Paris, over Tel Aviv, and over any future discussion of where commerce ends and conscience begins.